Everyone wants a massive deadlift, and one of the biggest, most common questions I get is which accessories are my favorite for building a massive deadlift. So I'm gonna give you 5 accessories that are in my rotation of some of my favorite exercises to do when trying to build my deadlift. Now, before diving into this list here, there's some things we have to get out of the way. First and foremost, proof. If you're new here, my name is Gavin Aiden. I'm a junior world champion powerlifter. I've set world records, mainly in the squat and the total. And my best deadlift to date is 771, conventional, by the way. But also I've deadlifted 750, I think, sumo. I definitely could have done more. But anyway, yeah, that's just my credentials. I'm a natural athlete. I compete at 205 pounds. The things that we need to talk about, the very first is going to be the fact that deadlifts are probably going to be the best way to get better at deadlifts. That's just me being completely honest with you. The second thing is variations. I'm not going to include any variations in the accessories, but if you're trying to build your deadlifts, accessories are going to be, variations of the main movement are going to be really instrumental in doing that. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's hop right into the list. Again, this is not all of my best or favorite exercises, but this is most of them, some of them, you get the idea. So the very first one, naturally, is going to be a barbell RDL. You could also sub this with a stiff-legged deadlift, okay? Now, the major reason here, this is going to be great for the posterior chain, okay? Very rarely do we get to directly train our posterior chain when it comes to most of the compound movements we do, especially as strength athletes. So this is gonna be great for your erectors, which a lot of people neglect these days. It's gonna be like these big meaty things right in the center that go up. It's also gonna be great for your hamstrings and your glutes. So this is a hinge-based pattern. We have to understand that when you're trying to get stronger in a movement, aside from just doing variations in the movement itself, we have to break it down. Like, what is the pattern of the movement? What is it that we're actually trying to get stronger? What are the major movers in the movement? Which muscle groups, in other words, are we really using? People used to think deadlifts are a back movement. They're retarded, okay? It's not a back movement, it's a leg movement. Yes, your back is involved, but so what? I mean, it's your legs that are actually lifting the weight, okay? That said, you still need a really strong, thick back in order to help lift the weight, because your back, it's your torso, right? It's gonna stabilize your torso. It's gonna help you make sure you can hold onto the bar and bring that thing straight up, right? So we don't wanna neglect the back, but we also have to think like, okay, what are the primary movers? The legs are gonna be the primary movers. This is a hinge-based movement, so we've gotta train the hinge. I don't wanna run off on a tangent here. The point is posterior chain is really, really important. So barbell RDLs are great. They're also great because you can progress them. I don't like dumbbell RDLs. In fact, nothing on this list is gonna be dumbbells or machine work. Why? Because I can go heavier with a barbell, period. I can go heavier. Progressive overload is a very real thing. It's a very important principle. And using a barbell makes sure that we can apply that principle more frequently and more effectively over time. So yeah, so barbell RDLs for sure, 100%. If I had to give you a rep range, I'd say start off at 15, work your way down. A lot of my athletes, I'll even have them go through blocks where they're training heavy sets of 6 or heavy sets of 8 as well. Even if it's a top set back down approach, like that's fine too. But just getting that heavy training in is really, really important. I think my best set of 5 to 8 reps is with like 605 or something like that for RDL. So they are really, really helpful, really, really important. Okay, let's move on. The second thing I'm going to say here is leg press. Now, it's not just any leg press. I think a close stance and feet somewhat lower on the platform is a little bit better when trying to correlate it to deadlifts. Why? The lower your feet are on the platform, the more ankle and knee flexion you're gonna get, so you're gonna just use more quads. And the closer stance should mimic something more similar to like a conventional deadlift as opposed to like what would be your squat. Now, if you're a sumo deadlifter, in my opinion, yes, you can absolutely open up and open up the hips and angle your feet out and stuff to get a little bit more adductor and all that stuff, 100%, like you can do all that. But I found that having that closer stance has been really, really helpful for generating a lot of power from that bottom position. But leg press in general is great. The biggest reason why is, again, you can load it up, but you also aren't in a deep range of motion like you would be if you were doing a belt squat or a pendulum squat or a hack squat. What I found is, again, the range is pretty similar, honestly, to what your deadlift might be in the lower half. So I think that's really important. If you can overload that movement pattern in a safe way, why not? So I think leg press is really, really helpful, really, really important, especially because it's different. You know, a lot of people for squats aren't going to be thinking that leg press is definitely the way to go. Some coaches do, but most coaches will lean more towards a belt squat or a pendulum for squats. But in my opinion, for deadlifts, leg press is great because, again, it won't overlap with the movements you might use for a squat or something like that. Now, again, this is just my take. The leg press, the biggest thing here is it can be overloaded, whereas a pendulum is really hard to stack a lot of plates on. A hack squat, really hard to stack a lot of plates on. Put in perspective, depends on the machine, but I can easily rep out 12 to 14 plates on a leg press versus on a hack squat, maybe I'm getting 5 each side. So maybe that brings me to 10, right? Maybe. That's with knee sleeves and a belt. So my point is leg press can be really helpful. Okay, the third movement, halfway there pretty much, is going to be a barbell Bulgarian split squat. Now, I have to put in a unilateral movement here because it's really important for symmetry. It's also really important to make sure that you are relatively coordinated. And then the last thing here is this is going to build a retarded amount of muscle and strength in your legs. This isn't just quads, this is glutes and hamstrings as well. Anyone who does them knows that they suck. Every single one of my clients has a love-hate relationship with their Bulgarian split squats. Now, I wouldn't probably do this closer to a meet. Remind you that a lot of this real work is going to happen pretty far out from a competition. But when you are doing this, you will build. Like, you have no choice but to build. So the barbell Bulgarian split squat's phenomenal. Again, it's a unilateral movement. You get to train each leg at a time. Because it's barbell, you can really progress the load easily over time. And again, in my opinion, it helps with coordination, and it really does help make sure that you're balanced throughout the whole leg. Whereas some of these other movements, of course, are going to be disproportionate in terms of which muscle groups are working more of the time, if that makes sense. All right, so the fourth movement we're going to put in here is a barbell row. Now, you can sub this in for a Penley row as well. I don't really care. What matters here is that, again, we've got a pretty heavy compound barbell movement that is going to build dense, thick muscle. The difference here is that not only will this train our torso to stay in a stacked, braced position, right? Basically the same torso position we want at the start of a deadlift and really throughout the whole movement. You're gonna train maintaining this position under load, right? But you're also gonna be using your lats and your rear delts and your traps to bring this weight in, right? And especially if you perform them the right way, dude, you can tax the shit out of your back, build a really thick, wide back while also getting all the muscle groups in between that would be really important for deadlifts. Okay, so the only complaint I have with the barbell row is that if you don't do them right, you can really feel your lower back. If you don't do them right, sometimes you just get it all in the upper back. You don't really get some of that lower lat. You can change how you do them. You can do an underhand grip. You can pull that weight into the hip as opposed to into the sternum. That's going to change the angle as well. But the barbell rows in general are a phenomenal exercise. If you do find that it's really difficult to take that pressure off your lower back, then either you need to change your position so that you're more in line with your midfoot and your center of gravity here as opposed to being out front. But then also too, you can just do the Penley rows. Penley rows, the bar starts on the floor every single rep, all right? The fifth and final accessory here, I'm actually going to put something that most coaches would probably disagree with. It's probably not going to be on the highest priority list, whatever. But I'm going to put it here because I think fuck it, why not? Why not be different and unique? Barbell shrugs. Heavy barbell shrugs. Barbell shrugs are super underrated. I don't see any lifters, especially natural lifters like myself, doing them anymore. To me, you get a lot of bang for your buck here, especially if you do them like first, basically as many reps as you can without straps, double overhand, and then you throw on straps when you need them. But dude, you get so much out of this. You build so much trap strength, but you build explosiveness. You build this thickness in your upper body that's very hard to replicate in other scenarios. And dude, like, you feel like a mutant, all right? You're gonna develop a really thick, strong neck, and you're gonna get your forearms worked as well. I also think it's great because usually to do a barbell shrug, you have to be slightly hinged, right? Guess what position this is that you're training? This is the lockout. Like, this is it. So if I can build my ability to resist this position, I'm building my ability and my resilience in the lockout position as well. I think that that's really important and really special. And again, you build massive traps. Massive traps are going to be really important for the deadlift. You need a big, strong upper back. So that's the 5 major movements, guys. In terms of like reps, sets, all that stuff, it kind of changes. But to be honest with you, think about your training phases. If you have a hypertrophy focus phase or a volume phase where you're gonna try and push reps, great, do that. If you're gonna have a strength phase and you wanna put these in a strength block, obviously you're not gonna be training all these to failure then. The goal is really more so load in conjunction with the movement as opposed to muscular failure. So you may change some things, but overall, you can get away with mixing and matching. The biggest thing is that you execute each thing properly with good technique, okay? If you can do that, then you're gonna end up increasing your deadlifts. So yeah, these are the 5 accessories. All right, guys, this is Able, my clothing sponsor, Gavin10 for 10% off, and coaching is still available. You can apply at the link in the description. All right, peace. I'll see you guys in the next YouTube video.